Okay, so now we're going to talk about what do you want to offer? Is it going to be selling templates, selling manuals, which is a digital product? Or do you want to offer one on one coaching where people sign up for coaching sessions with you where you're teaching them something? Or a full on course where it can be more step by step. You can upload into modules, pre recorded videos, and you can even include more manuals and templates and extra coaching sessions in your course. Now, I'm going to go through all of them quickly, and you can kind of decide what you might want to do. Some are easier than others. And I'm going to also tell you kind of what I got started with and why now I'm doing full on courses. I'm doing a little bit of everything, but courses is truly what I like to do. So the easiest thing to do is probably going to be to create a template or a workbook or a manual. So for me, I could create, let's go back to my dental hygiene and dental assisting students, because this is where I create a lot of my manuals. I can create a mock exam practice study guide where it could be 50 pages, it could be 100 pages, it could be 100 questions. Simple mock exam practice questions on anatomy, pharmacology, nutrition, ethics. I could ask them a bunch of multiple choice questions that I create, and then there's going to be an answer sheet where I give them the answers with the rationale. So, why is that the right answer versus another one? Who would purchase these mock exam practice sheets? Anybody who's studying for that anatomy test or pharmacology test, or those who are taking the board exam, because you need to know a wide variety of topics. And for anybody, before they take an exam, one of the best ways to study is to do mock exam practice. So you really see if you're on the right track. So I can create one of those. It will probably take me a couple hours, depending on how many questions, and I can sell it at $30. Now, $30 might not sound like a lot of money, but it only took me a couple hours. And what if I get 100 clients or students who want to purchase that? That's easy money. And it's not like the questions are going to expire or the questions are going to be irrelevant in 2 years. No, they're always going to be great questions that they can practice and study from. So the students can purchase it today, they can purchase it tomorrow, in 2 months, in 5 years, probably even. It's still going to be relevant. So I created something once and I'm selling it forever. Okay. Now, how do I create these amazing study sheets or mock exam practice? You can do it either in Google Docs, that's what I use. But if you want to make it look prettier, there's also Canva, which is free. Both are absolutely free. But don't worry, we talk more about that later on. So, we talked about creating a manual or a mock exam practice as an example. What is there something based on what your topic is that you could create a manual for? And you know what? There might not be much. So, that's why you already know that's not going to be what you want to do. But I challenge you on that. I can't think of one thing that couldn't benefit from a manual or a template of some kind. What I like to do too, before any of my courses, what I like to do is say, download this free manual. It's kind of like a workbook to ask you questions, and then you can really see, do you want to take my course? Kind of like that mastermind business booklet workbook that I have. I ask you questions like how to get clear on your business idea. What are your passions? What are your skills? And I created a workbook for that that you can download. People can download that for free. And then they fill it all out, they might think, "Oh, I don't need a course. This is all I needed to really get clear." Or they might say, "Oh my god, I do need a course. I do need Andrea to help me with this and work me through it." So it's nice to kind of offer that for free too, because we do talk more about that later as well. I always suggest offering free content first before you sell your course, because nobody's going to trust you or know what your course is going to be like until they get a taste of your free content first. It might take you 5 hours, it might take you a long time to create that free content, but people like to know what you're all about. Now, the next one is, let's say we're talking about coaching. Maybe you just want to do one on one sessions. This is also easy too because there's nothing you have to prepare for. You don't have to pre record a bunch of videos. You don't have to make a bunch of study sheets. You don't have to upload a bunch of things into a course. It's, hey, if you want to talk to me, here's my one on one link, coaching session. Let's book something, pay $30 per hour or whatever it is. It could be $100 per session, it could be 500, depending on how much value you're going to offer, right? And then you just simply show up and be like, okay, how can I help you? They ask you questions, you answer them, done. There's no preparation. So that can be very easy too. Now, courses is probably the hardest one, but in my opinion, it's the most valuable one because a course is what a lot of people want. If they want to learn something, pardon me, what's the best way to learn? When you go to school, there's courses, you're learning something, right? So the method clearly works. To teach something to somebody that somebody doesn't know, you need to learn from a teacher, a mentor, and that's where the courses come in. But again, it takes longer, it's more work because you have to create that content to upload inside that course platform. But what I love about courses is it's there once, it's a lot of work, but then people can sign up anytime. They sign in, they get an automatic email. So I don't have to manually send people emails. It's automatically through the course platform that I have, sends them a welcome email, log in here. They can log in, create their own username, password, all of that, and they see it all right there. They see the study guides, they see the video. So the course that you're taking now, think of how it all worked. When did you get the email? How did that work? How do you log in? See how easy it is? Everything's right there for you. But again, it's more work to create. So, what are you thinking you want to do? Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to kind of tell you what I did and what I'm doing. I first started off, I didn't know, I was just simply tutoring people online, one on one. Well, first in person, and then like one on one. So, one on one coaching. And then I hired a business mentor because I knew I was making great money and I wanted to take it a step further. What I was also doing was I would have a webinar. So I would post about Friday afternoon. There's going to be a 2-hour webinar session where I'm just teaching you guys and going through mock exam practice questions, where I go through the questions, the answers. This will help you study to pass for the board exam. The webinar is going to be $50 a person. Come on in. And people would sign up. It was amazing. I remember making close to $2,000 because I had so many people signing up and I had stayed home from my dental office job that day. I think there was a snowstorm or something. So we were snowed in and I just decided to do a webinar. And I thought, oh my God, I just made $2,000 in a 2-hour webinar working from home. And people were so thankful. Everyone's saying, oh my God, thank you so much. That was amazing. Those questions were fantastic. You're such a good teacher. I feel so much more confident. So at first, I thought, oh, am I pricing it too high? Nobody's going to sign up. But so many people did, and they got so much value from that. It was amazing. And I thought, oh my God, if I do this every Friday, that would be fantastic. But let's also create a course and let's do this and let's do that. Because the thing is, when people like what you do, they always want more. They do. They want more. So that's when I thought, okay, I need to hire somebody to help me out here. This is fantastic. And that's when my mentor at the time said, you're doing a great job, but why not make a course? You have all of the knowledge, all of the info, you're teaching it in your webinars, put it into a course so people can reach it anytime. It doesn't just have to be Friday afternoons. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. So that's when my courses first happened. And I've had many different platforms since then. I've had Square, was it? No, sorry, not Square. It was Wix. Then I had Weebly. I had something called Gumroad, and feel free to look these up. And then now I'm with Podia because I get the most bang for my buck. It's the easiest to operate. It includes an email newsletter if I wanted it. It just has everything that I need. But don't worry, we talk more about that later too. So I just started getting to work and I had fun with it. I was literally working 10 hours a day, just working from home, creating my courses. You might be thinking, oh my God, 10 hours, that sounds horrible, but I loved it. And I knew once I was done, I would get students and make the money. And fast forward to today, it's Monday. On Friday, I got $5,000 and something sent to my bank account just from my courses. And then the week before, I think it was 2,000 and something cent. So the income does vary, but it's still so much more than I make working at a dental office. So isn't that amazing? So that's why I want you to get excited about your course, about your templates or manuals or one on one coaching. I'm going to teach you guys how to do all of that. But I want you to think, what do you want to focus on first? Because it is hard to do multiple things at once, especially if you're not used to it. So I want you to think of one thing to focus on. Try that. But if you're really excited and motivated, sure, you can do all of them. Because don't worry, I teach you that. But think about, what is your course going to be about? What are you going to include in it? Think about your templates too, manuals or coaching. How are you going to do this? I go through the platforms you need. I go through how you're going to do it. And everything's free, by the way. You don't have to pay for any of these platforms. For example, there are certain things that I might say. For example, I use Google Meet. That's free, but if you want to keep the recordings of your live sessions, that you have to pay for. So certain things I might say, this is what I'm using. I'm not saying you have to, but this is what I'm using and why I like it and why I recommend it. Sorry guys, I'm getting over a cold. It's been like weeks now. So this is going to be exciting for you. I hope you're excited. I'm excited. Have fun thinking, and I'll see you guys in the next video.